Welcome to another Flipping Tables. Today we have for you a game from the Op. It's in the Talisman line of games, Talisman Batman Supervillain Edition. This is obviously a very, very Batman-themed version of the Talisman game system.
Giant box,
very giant box, but also a giant board game. Look at the size of this board. It can't even fit on screen. It is so big. But let's talk about what Talisman is. The basic object of the game is you are playing a supervillain in Arkham Asylum. This is Arkham Asylum, the 3 different levels of the board. And you are going around the board. It's very much like an adventure game. You're building up your character. You choose one of the villains. For example, when I played this, I played as Poison Ivy. And it comes with a really great miniature that goes with it. Tico played as Clayface.
Clayface here. With also another absolutely fantastic miniature for these things.
Each character has their own spin dial. You set their baseline strength, cunning, and health as you go through the game. You just place that on your character card as you're playing through. And you're going to gain strength. You're going to gain cunning. And you gain that by basically going around the board in the different levels. And as you land on a space, for example, within the corridor, here with a Batman symbol on it, it's a card. You're going to take a card from the encounter deck, and you're going to do what it says. It could be an event. It could be a follower that's going to stay with you. It could be a legendary object, such as Penguin's umbrella. It could follower of Man-Bat, or an event of a security raid, and you follow what it says on it. And as you go through this, you're going to fight other characters. You're going to fight enemies that come out. You're also going to meet strangers that help you by you roll a die and you follow the instructions. If you roll a 1, you get something. If you roll a 2, you get something else. There's good and bad. It is basically it is a role-playing game.
Yeah.
You're building up your character as you go through each of the levels, and you really need to build up, especially your strength and your cunning, because it really all comes down to getting your character up here into the control room. And when you enter the control room, Batman magically finds his way in there as well, and you now have to fight Batman, who has massive stats when he is in the control room. A strength of 12, a cunning of 12. Combat, very easy to understand. You take your value of your cunning or your strength value, and you roll one of the dice, and you add that to your value.
Right.
And then the enemy would also roll and add to his, and whoever wins that battle.
The Batman symbol is a 1, so that's
yes.
something you want to see when your opponent is rolling.
Yes.
There are other modifying cards that you can get that affect your ability to attack and defend. So you can get a riot shield. You can get a baseball bat that adds 1 to your strength combat. Loot bag lets you carry a few extra things. Security key cards and stuff let you get through some doors a little bit easier.
Right, so you're going to want to... the big thing we learned very early on in the game is you don't want to get to the control room quickly. You need to spend time in the outer circle of the board and building up your character. Bring out these event cards, follow the events, get followers, get items that are going to add to your strength and your cunning. Really, it does come down to building up that character, increasing your strength, increasing your cunning, getting more health, so that when you do get up to the higher levels, in the second level you get more cards that are higher level cards with more powerful enemies. Third level, same thing. And then you need to get to this control room to become the king of Gotham's Underworld. Once you defeat Batman, unlock all the cells in Arkham and let all the crazies out.
Yeah. Batman's going to be chasing you around the board as you go when you're rolling for your movement.
That's
so
right.
Two stages, you roll for your movement, you roll 1 die for your movement. Whatever it lands on is how much you move.
Yes, right.
If you roll the Batman symbol, the 1, you're only moving 1, but then you're rolling a second die to move Batman. So he will chase you around. So if you're rolling it, you're going to move him away from yourself and towards your opponents.
That's right.
And if your opponents are doing it, they're trying to get Batman to land on your space in order to initiate a combat with you, and then you have to fight Batman.
So you can see on Batman's card, depending on what floor he's on, he has different stats. So if he happens to attack you on the first floor, he only has a strength and a cunning of 7. So Hopefully you can get through that attack. The nice thing about it, though, is when you lose an attack, you're not out of the game. You just lose one health point. But if you get down to 0 health, your character is out of the game. You then choose another character, but you start again as if it's the beginning of the game for you. You start with nothing. You start in your starting zone and start again.
And there are some great characters. So this is the Batman Villains edition. So they did not it's not like 3 or 4. Like you got Penguin, Riddler, Mr. Freeze, Scarecrow, Bane, Two-Face, Ra's al Ghul, Harley Quinn, the Joker's daughter, and the Joker. So you can choose any of those to start from. I just love that they threw so many in there, and you get these awesome minis for each one.
Every single one of these characters has an amazing looking mini worthy of painting. If you're into painting minis, these minis are fantastic. You know what? For a themed game, Talisman is a series of games. This is a themed version of the original Talisman. And the Batman theme is core and core. Like you could swear this game was built as a Batman game, not just sort of a Batman version of another game.
The theme works really well.
So well done. And it feels like you are in Arkham Asylum playing this game. It's a long game. It's 90 plus minutes, and it is definitely 90 plus minutes, even for 2 players. When we played, we were hours into this game. I think it took a while to really understand that you need to spend time. The strategy is not... I tried to go up the stairs too quickly.
We both Leroy Jenkins it right into the...
We definitely tried to Leroy Jenkins this, and you cannot do that.
No.
You need to spend time in the outer ring building up your character before you attempt to move up and do the more difficult things.
You can back out too. We did. We both ended up going, well, this was a mistake. We both backed out to the outside ring, built up our characters a little bit before going back in. There are some enemies that'll hit you pretty hard. There are some enemies that, you a good nice swipe and you got them taken out.
That's great. And there's lots of ways to upgrade. You can roll a die on some of these offices where you can roll a die and gain health, or you can even lose health, but you take that chance of rolling a die and doing what it says. You can also, once you defeat enemies, you keep that card as infamy, and their strength adds, once you have like 5 enemies with 5 strength total, you can now trade that in 5 strength to gain 1 strength yourself. You trade in your infamy, but you keep the characters you've defeated, and whatever their strength or cunning is can then be traded in to increase your own strength or cunning,
really
based on what type
neat
of
level up system.
In
order to sort of build yourself up, in order to be able to tackle the inner levels of Arkham Asylum.
That's right. So this is Talisman Batman Supervillain Edition. Fantastic themed version of Talisman. If you've never played Talisman, give it a shot. If you have played Talisman and you're a fan of Batman, definitely give it a shot. This is from the op, and it's available now. So thanks everybody for watching this episode of Flipping Tables. If you like what you're seeing, give us a subscribe right down below. Give us a like and hit that bell icon to be notified when we post new videos. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
The Batman voice. I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
We're Batman. We're not Batman. We're the other guys.